In our last movie, we set up a function, custom function, to handle our errors, and we were able to use our custom function to generate errors both when our validation rules were violated and when system errors were generated by our script. However, there are limitations to this approach. For instance, we may want to add some error handling for the connection. We may want to add error handling for our MySQL query, and we may, with a much larger and more complex script, want to add error handling to a whole raft of different kinds of functions within our script that may, under certain circumstances, generate an error. We have no way of foretelling which functions are going to generate errors. If we could, we wouldn't need to worry about any of this. We just iron out all the errors and look into our crystal ball and create perfect PHP scripts every time. This being an unrealistic scenario, we have to think about a way of setting up a consistent error handling system that we don't have to invoke on every line that we want to use it. Luckily, as of PHP version 4, there is a system whereby we can replace PHP's error handling function with our own custom error handler. How we do that is with a simple line of code called setErrorHandler, and then we put the name of our function. We should include this at the beginning of our script so that PHP will be using this function, fail in this case, anytime it hits an error. Now the way this works is that anytime PHP finds an error, either through faulty syntax or through an error resulting from user data being entered and our script going haywire, it will invoke the fail function rather than its standard error handling, error message generating function. Now, for an error handler, PHP has certain criteria for the kind of function that will be acceptable. It has to take two arguments, the first of which has to be an error number, and the second of which should be the error message that it's going to generate. Now, the reason it needs to know the error number is that there are different classes of errors within PHP. I won't go into detail about this, but you can have a look in your PHP manual and have a look at the different kinds of errors that PHP uses. As you can see, they're all numbered. They're given binary numbers here, and they also have more user-friendly aliases in words with underscores between them. Now, we won't go into great depth about what all the different errors mean. All we need to know for now is that certain of these errors are fatal errors which, when thrown up by our scripts, will cause the script to terminate. This is an example of a fatal error, e-user error, and the other one that is relevant to us is e-error. Now, if you look at this list closely, you'll notice that there are other fatal errors such as compile error, fatal compile time errors. There's nothing we can do about these errors in terms of our custom error handling because this will have happened before any of our script is evaluated. So the ones we're interested in are e_error and e_user_error, both of which will, in PHP's default system, generate a fatal error and stop the program from executing. Let's go back to our script and have a look here. And the way we use the error number here, if we want to simulate the same way of handling errors as the standard PHP error handling, of course we're going to use our own error messages here. We're going to use our whoops and the hyperlink at the bottom, but we're going to simulate the differentiation between fatal and non-fatal errors that the standard error handler users. And we're going to do this by a simple if condition, which is going to test either for euser error or error, the two kinds of fatal errors that we're concerned with here. And if either of these happen, then it's going to give the hyperlink and terminate executing the script. Let's save that. And usually when this function is invoked, it will be invoked by PHP itself, and the error number will be fed to the function, as will the error message, depending on the situation that caused the error in the first place. So we can take out this line, and if we go up here, we're going to look at a way to trigger the error without a real error occurring. And when we do this, instead of PHP automatically filling in the blanks for us, because we've triggered the error arbitrarily, we have to first of all give the message and also tell PHP what kind of error it is. So let's say it's a user error, because that'll make sure that the script terminates and the hyperlink is given. And we're going to do the same with this.